Hello, this is Eric of NotBIOS and welcome to my review of the Obsbot Tiny 4K. So one thing I do have for this is the new firmware, and before I even use this, I'm going to install that because why do the same review as everyone else with the same problems when I can fix these problems? So let's get started. This is the first time I've ever seen this device, and as you can see, it's really small. And we also have this little magnet, and that's for a little pedestaling. There we go. And you may have heard the audio before, but my idea is not to do it the same way as everyone else, because everyone thinks, I'm going to show off the audio inside. Of course, I'll show that for a moment, but I'm going to go with a professional microphone attached to my PC because this is a webcam. And then I'm going to get professional audio. That's the idea. That's what I'm going to attempt to do with this camera and see how good this is compared to my Sony ZV-1 that you're viewing on right now. I have the aperture closed a bit, so my image should be nice and sharp. But can it get anywhere close? This thing? This small little tiny thing? I don't know. We're going to have to find that out. Now inside the box, which I already took the camera out and everything, nice little molding. And we have some packaging. Inside the packaging, what do we have? We have a connector, which is USB to this type of connection, which I am totally puzzled. Oh, okay. Okay, that's power. So power delivery. And it looks like we should have another USB to PC as well. And here we have it. Let's get rid of that. We have a USB Type-C to the Obsbot, the back end right here. We can see that power adapter connection, and we can see the USB. And we also have USB-C on the other side. It includes a USB Type-C adapter to USB Type-A. Everything now is unpackaged in the box, and I can go take a trip somewhere. You'll want to install the software. I'd recommend installing on a flash drive, a thumb drive. So if you're not computer savvy, you may wonder, what is a thumb drive? Just one of these USB storage sticks. Another one as well. I have many of these. And then I copy the software and toss it in my pouch with the software for the device and be done with it. I'm not going to connect it to my computer facing out this way. I'm going to connect it here as if I'm recording me right here and then see how that view is, because that's how I record my videos. So I might wonder how my small rig is going to hold this. Well, once I clamp this tight, look at that. So can I do this? Yeah, of course I can. See, it's holding nice and snug. I'm going to set up the camera the way I want, and yeah, it's not going to fall, see? So right now I have the Obsbot connected with a small rig on its actual included plate, and it's nice and snug. A lot more so than the included magnet plate here, where it could still fall off if you twist it side to side, where this will just stay on no matter which way I have the camera. Now, how do I use this? I'll show that in a moment. But first, I will disconnect, I believe, this Arca Swiss type plate. It attaches with 1/4 inch because at the bottom there's a thread on the Obsbot. So let's show this thread itself. There we go, right here. And that 1/4 inch just goes into the hole. It's kind of hard to connect with this not being too deep, so you have to make sure you got it nice and snug. Clip it in. And it is snug in place. Now the way this plate is meant to work is you put it on top of your laptop or computer screen. So this is the front face and this is the back padded side. So you normally put your camera up like so and stick it on your screen. There we go. It's magnetic, sticks pretty decently. You can see it can take its little mount up with it, even if you have it fairly snug, so that magnet is pretty darn decent. So when it comes to included cables, I find them too short. So your power cable here doesn't have to be connected to PC, just has to be connected to USB power. And this one has to be connected to a computer and for your software to read. This cable is my extension cable, not the one included. So this has to be a 5 gigabit cable for data, not a USB 2. The USB 2 standard is only 480 megabyte, and that is not going to make it work properly. I had flashing and stuff like that happening. It didn't work as well. The power cable has to be able to supply up to 10 watts. So as long as your cable can supply 10 watts of power, which would be 2 amps at 5 volts, you should be good to go. Before we get started, we need to download the Obsbot TinyCam software. Made for Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10 64-bit version or later, the Mac operating system 10.13 or later. This was updated March 14th, 2022. And I also installed the Obsbot Tiny 4K firmware, and that was May 11th, 2022. That fixes many different issues, such as the brightness and dimness issues that a lot of people had when reviewing this unit. Updating the firmware takes literally about 20 minutes or even more. Once we have the software installed, we can go to our settings, we can update the firmware if you want to go to more, and firmware upgrade if you download, and you can choose the file to update to if there's a newer piece of firmware. Now for this to run, we'll have to have the camera connected, so you can actually see it shows number 1, connect, and you can see your options here. And one thing is there's no option for off. It goes to sleep after 30 seconds, 2 minutes, or 10 minutes. So keep that in mind, or we can just simply turn off auto sleep if you want to stay on all the time. Motion mode, I didn't have any success with that, and I'll show the different options a bit. With this here, you can control your camera, like remote control it, and you can choose your zoom amount. So let's see if I can see this on screen. If we do different gestures to zoom in or zoom out, we can control that right here by your zoom factor. If you actually want to see on screen, you can actually open something such as your recording software, which I have here, and I have to change to the camera. I don't know if it'll let me record still. Okay, so right now I'm recording the camera, and let's see what I can do on here. I can check out the zoom factor, and it's going to go out, and then I go here, and then I can see it zoom in and out of my camera. This is a nice little test. I can zoom in even more if I want to. It doesn't zoom different levels. It's just going to zoom between the main and your zoom factor. So right now I have my Obsbot tracking me. You can see it follow me and move around. Now I went too fast, and that's what happens, and it should go green again, focusing on me and tracking me yet again, which is really cool that has that feature. Now when I do a gesture, there you can see it flash again. If it doesn't flash, it didn't actually do anything at all. So that's kind of a basics of how this device works. Put to sleep and watch what happens. That was through the software, and I press resume and it will set itself back up. Now I can do the same thing with my hand and just do this, and it will also go to sleep just like you see here. So if you go all the way down, it's going to put itself to sleep, whether you like or not, even controlling through software. Can it go all the way? I can almost go completely vertically. And can it go in a full circle? Let's find that out. Okay, so it can go basically 360. That's where it stopped. And let's see if it goes the other way. And when it stops again, there we go. So it doesn't seem quite 360, but about 320 degrees or so for turning. And there you go. It caught me again. Now if I want to, I can use this little remote control to look around and view the room. And this is without automatic tracking, and if I wanted to, I can just turn automatic tracking on right now. And we can see, let's see, automatic tracking unlock. There we go. And now it is tracking me. So really cool option, really cool. And I'm talking on this microphone as we speak right now. Right now I'm using the tiny camera, and what you hear is the internal microphone. It does pick up background noise pretty good, but it works pretty darn good. And if I want to zoom back out, I just go like this. And what if I don't want it to follow me wherever I go? Well, what I can do is I do this, and now it's no longer going to follow me whatsoever anywhere I go. But if what I want to follow me yet again, I do that, and now it's going to track me yet again. If I wanted to, I could adjust the brightness and contrast. What I usually like to do is add a little more contrast so it's a little darker, and increase the saturation a bit to say about, in my case, 54, and contrast about 63. So one thing to note is the body of this camera can get warm after a while. That's one of the reasons to actually have a sleep mode, just if you're concerned about how hot it gets. I haven't had a problem yet, but it's something to at least be aware of. Oh, it failed. It stayed a solid blue, so I'm trusting this thing to actually work. And the cool thing is it's not a problem. I've been able to trust it. I can look at the light. I can see what it's doing. I can see what's following me. Headroom mode is definitely on tracking the way to go, not standard, because you can see I got headroom. The other way, it might zoom in and cut off part of my head. And this looks way better, especially for a presentation, as you can see right now. So you could be talking camera and simply do a gesture and it won't follow you because you accidentally, people really got to stop this. And all of a sudden it's following you or not following you. Now I want to do a test to see if I can turn lights off and it will still track me or not. I'm going to turn some of these background lights off to start with. It turns off half of them. And let's turn them pretty much all off. I'll leave that one on, why not? To at least have some light. And I got another light to turn off back here. I don't know if it'll be able to track me the entire time. This is a very awkward place to be. This close to the camera. And okay, it's still tracking me. Nice. That was way closer than I wanted to be. Now I'll turn off this light. This is going to be really hard for the camera to see. This is extremely dark on my screen. And that light right there, LED, there's no light in the room at all. I think we reached the limit of this device. Okay. I'm going to turn one light on. Oh, it saw me, just didn't do anything about it. Okay, so got one light in, and you can see it's a little saturated. It's trying to increase light and a more grainy looking. It's like I have a small little light, much darker than a normal room would be altogether. I'll just turn my room light on and turn this off. Okay, this is a normal 60 watt equivalent light bulb right now, and we are decent for brightness. So how's it working? What you were seeing before always had been like the whole studio lights on, which is quite a bit brighter than just this one light on. I can still zoom in, zoom out at a distance 6 feet away right now. It was 2 feet when I was originally recording, and the audio is better at 2 feet away. I changed to my Sennheiser microphone because at a distance away, the audio is really not that great. Let's go distance away. Now for the gesture down here, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to do anything. Oh, right about there, it still can. So generally when you're around your head level, because I could go over my head, and it still works. But right covering here and off to the side, you should be safe. It's not doing anything. Not doing anything until you get up here. So if I were to change it to external, let's see if I can do that right now while recording without messing things up. I go to the Obsbot TinyCam, and right now we're listening to the internal audio at 6 feet away. I'm sure this is much worse than it should be. Now if I go up close, like we see right now, I bet the audio is improved quite a bit, being up close to the camera versus far away. Motion mode. I haven't had success with this, but let's see. is my motion or what? Motion of what? Motion of what? How about if I do... Yeah, if that's motion mode so far is kind of useless. What I think the developer should do is motion mode should track what is right in front of it. So if you're showing an object, it can track the object. So motion mode, you know, I want to track this. It's in front of me. But it's not quite like that. It's tracking just whatever's moving, and it's only kind of okay. Not really. Follow my fingers. Get on the run. Mind you, there's a processing delay, so you may have to edit after the fact if you use an external microphone. If I use the Rode NTG, the delay is a little bigger than when using an audio interface. So keep that in mind. You'll have to edit through your software to make it less of a delay. This is Eric of Not BIOS. Thanks for watching, and have yourselves a most wonderful day.